On 9/11, I was shaving, getting ready to take my children to school and go to work, when my wife came rushing in. A friend from New York had called and told us to turn on the TV. I watched the attacks that day in shock and disbelief. Like most people, I wanted to do something to help. I'm an entrepreneur. I had founded 2 internet companies, but I had no government or military background. But I did have a deep belief that America matters, and what America stands for matters. My father had served in World War II. He and his generation did their part. I wanted to do my part, to stand up for what we stand for. So as I searched for how to be useful, it became clear to me that conventional military action alone would never meet the challenges we face. We need to use all of America's strengths, not just our government and military. So I thought, how do we harness the tremendous power and goodwill of the American people? Then one night in 2003, I saw this. Sergeant First Class Jay Smith and Afghan kids playing baseball. It was a TV show about U.S. Special Forces in Afghanistan. When Jay deployed, he took his baseball glove with him to use during his free time. But pretty soon, the kids in the village were using it to play catch. Inspired, Jay called his wife and asked her to send enough bats, balls, and mitts so the kids could play a real game. With donations from friends and family, she bought the gear and sent it to Jay. Then Jay and his soldiers taught the whole village how to play baseball. They brought happiness and hope to people who had suffered years of war and repression. Well, I thought this was great. Jay's initiative was supported by the generosity of people back home. To those villagers, Jay was America. He was our frontline ambassador, and the American people were his partners. That was my light bulb moment. So I tracked down Jay, flew to Fort Bragg, and met with him and his team. I told them the idea. When soldiers needed something to help the local population, they could tell me, and I would use the internet to get people to help. Jay kept saying this idea would save lives. He told me that when he was in Afghanistan, Al-Qaeda had been crossing the Pakistan border at night and firing rockets on our soldiers' camp. Then, purely because of the strong relationship that had been built between our soldiers and the villagers formed a night watch patrol to protect our soldiers. The rocket attacks stopped. Lives were saved. After hearing that, I got started. I learned there are American troops in hotspots from Africa to Southeast Asia. To improve security and counter extremism, they advance education, healthcare, and public services. They work in places where it's not safe for others. I came to see our troops as entrepreneurs. They work on tough, complex problems in risky areas that change quickly. They have tremendous initiative and great potential and desire to do good. What was missing for these social entrepreneurs was venture capital type support. Fast and flexible resources to help with whatever humanitarian problem the troops came across. So I set up a privately funded charity called Spirit of America to play that venture capital role, to connect the generosity of the American people to the initiative of our troops, and to bring private capital and brainpower right down to the front lines. We were helping our troops help local people in Iraq, Afghanistan, and Africa when we hit a huge problem. Military attorneys said what we were doing was illegal. The attorney said that if a soldier told us women in an Afghan village needed sewing machines to provide for their families, that was an improper solicitation of gifts and a violation of military ethics regulations. Military regulations had created a closed system that prohibited exactly the kind of collaboration we need. With the Department of Defense General Counsel and the 4-star commander of U.S. Central Command and his team, we got it fixed. And a new military regulation, CCR 2714, was created that opened the system for the first time. Then we put Spirit of America field representatives down on the ground right alongside the troops. Our field reps are all U.S. military veterans. Think of them as an embedded venture capitalist. The job of our embedded VC is to understand the humanitarian problem the troops are trying to solve and what assistance they need. Then we use the internet to crowdsource whatever capital, know-how, and material is needed. People donate to specific projects on our website, and we organize experts into virtual advisory boards. There are hundreds of projects supported by thousands of people. Here are a few. In West Africa, we've helped an army captain and his team radically improve livestock health so that people in vulnerable communities have more milk, more meat, and more money. This makes it harder for extremist groups like Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb to exploit poverty as a recruiting tool. In Tajikistan, an army sergeant and his team wanted to improve lives in a village that had been the center of an Islamist insurgency. We equipped the village school and health clinic with solar lighting, and we provided medicine and winter coats to the children to keep them warm through the harsh winter months when mortality rates usually jump. This helped our soldiers build goodwill and trust and reduce the potential of future conflict. In Afghanistan, we helped a platoon leader and his Marines dispel years of Taliban propaganda and improve relations with teenage boys that had been targeted for recruitment by the insurgents. Our embedded VC set up a video conference between an Afghan school the Marines had built and a school in the United States. The Afghan students had never interacted with American teenagers before, but it worked. There was this incredible human connection and understanding that bridged cultures about as different as you could get. Attendance at the Afghan school doubled in just 1 week. When you think of our troops as fighting a war, what you can do is limited. I've come to understand they're working on peace. Peace is the goal. And there, we can help a lot. In every field of human endeavor, we get the best results when we invest in the initiative of people closest to a problem. This works with our troops too. When we invest in the initiative and humanity of our men and women on the front lines, we unlock their potential to do great things. We make them safer and more successful. Local people are more secure and better able to build their future as well. This approach works because it's decentralized, personal, and local. It combines the flexibility and resources of our private sector with the capabilities of our government. It's a fundamentally better way for America to meet our challenges and to show the world who we are and what we stand for. My goal is that whenever our country sends our men and women to serve abroad, the American people are by their side, as their partners, supporting their missions and their humanitarian work. When we do that, we'll have less war and more peace. Thank you.